Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, let us learn how to validate our Spring REST API. We will learn how to seamlessly validate the user input and build robust Spring REST APIs. Why validation? Validation is crucial in REST APIs to ensure that the data received from the user follows the expected format and constraints. In Spring Boot, the validation can be achieved with the help of javax.validation API and @valid annotation. Now let us get started. To perform validation in a Spring REST API, we need to add Spring Boot starter validation as dependency. What are the annotations that help to perform these validations? They are all from javax.validation API. These are the annotations: @not_null, @not_blank, min, max, email, size, digits, past, future and pattern. Okay. Now let us get started. The domain model that I am going to use over here is employee. In case of employee, we can use all these annotations to validate the employee input that is coming from the user. Okay. Let me open Spring Tool Suite. Let us create a new project. File, new Spring Starter project. Let me give the project name spring-emp app-valid rest. Type is Maven, packaging is jar, Java version is 17, or you can go in for 21. I have downloaded and installed 21, so now I am choosing 21. Group ID is com.emp-app.dist, packages com.emp-app. Click next. Now let us add the dependency. First let me change the Spring Boot version. I want to work with Spring version 3.2.11 because I have been working only in that particular version. After creating the application also we can go and change it. Okay, the dependency that we need is obviously Spring Web. To generate a REST API we need Lombok. Together with that we need validation. It's also available already over here. You can select it and click finish. Now the application is ready. Let me open src main java. Okay, first let us create the domain model. The package name is com.emp-app.model. Class name is employee. First let me add few instance variables. These are the instance variables. Let me add Lombok specific annotations @noargs constructor, @allargs constructor, @data. Okay. Now our employee class is ready. Let me also create the controller and then we will come back and add the appropriate annotations. Select your package, right click, new class. The package is com.emp-app.controllers. The class name is employee controller, annotated with @rest controller. We are just going to have only one single method, public response entity of employee add employee, because we are going to get the data from the client. So the mapping that we will be using is @post mapping. Let me give the URL as /employees. The data is coming from the end user. To retrieve it we need to use request body employee import response entity. Technically, after getting the data from the end user, this data has to go to the service layer, from the service layer to the repo layer, and the data gets saved in the database. Now in our case we don't have all those. We want to just get the employee object and return the same employee object back to the client. Okay, so return response entity dot okay by passing the employee object. If you still want to check the value of the employee object, just have a println statement. Okay. Now my controller is ready. Let us go back to the model class. Now in this class, to validate the employee object, let us start adding the annotation. @employee name, it should not be blank. So not blank. If you want to provide a message, add that as an attribute. Message is equal to Name should not be blank. If you do not provide a message, the default message will be provided by the API. See, this at not blank is from Jakarta.validation. Similar kind of annotations are available in different packages, so you need to be careful while importing it. Together with not blank, let me also add at not null. This should be from Jakarta.validation.constraints. Okay. Here also, if you want, you can pass a message, but I want to go with the default message. Okay. Next, employee ID. The minimum value for the employee ID should start from 10. So, at min value equal to 10. Okay, it will accept 10 also. For age, at min, the minimum value should be 20. At max, value equal to 60. Together with that, let me also pass a message. Value should be less than or equal to. What about salary? In case of salary, we are going to check for the number of digits. At digits. Again, pass on the attributes. Here I am having integer. What is the maximum number of digits that it can accept? 3, fraction 3. If the number of digits go beyond 3, then this will throw an error, validation error. Okay. Now let me leave password. Let me come to city, not blank. And in case of email, of course you know email is mandatory. So for that I am using not null. And again it should be of email format. We can use at email annotation. Date of birth. The date of birth should be a past value. So add at past annotation. Date of retiring should be future date. Add at future annotation. Okay, together with that we can also add a list of hobbies. Private list of string hobbies. And for this let me add at size annotation. Size annotation can be used only for characters. How many characters are expected? Then for collections, that is for list and set, for map, for arrays. In case of collection, map and array, you are going to check the size of the collection or size of the map or size of array. In case of character sequence, as in if I am checking the size of the city, in that case it is the number of characters. In case of collection, it is the size of collection. Minimum, there should be 2 hobbies. We will give max also. Max 10. Let me import list. And together with that, for city, let me add at size. Just to show the difference. Min equal to 3. Fine. Now let us come to password. In case of password, we are having the annotation as at pattern. We need to provide the pattern with which this password has to be validated. What is the pattern that I am expecting for password? The password should have at least one number, at least one lowercase, at least one uppercase character, at least one special character, and the minimum number should be 8 and the maximum number should be 20. This is the expectation. So let us add the pattern. The attribute over here is regex. Within quotes, start with the caret. Caret represents the start of the number. Within round bracket, question mark equal to, which represents the pattern match. Dot star. Any number of characters which can be lowercase. Then again question mark equal to dot star. Star represents any number of characters which can be uppercase. Then again question mark equal to dot star 0 to 9. Any number of characters which can be digits. Then question mark equal to dot star. Let me add the special characters. at the rate, hash, exclamatory mark, ampersand, plus, equal to, dollar, underscore. We have provided all the patterns. Now we need to specify the length. Minimum should be 8, maximum should be 20, end it with the curly braces, followed by dollar. Dollar represents the end of the pattern. Okay. Let me add a message for city also. City should have 3 or more characters. In case of email, you can give the messages. Email should be proper. Okay. All set now. The next step that we need to do is to run the application. Select your main class. Right click, run as Spring Boot app. There is an error. Let me check it out. You can see the error that is there in the main application. So select your application, right click, Maven, update project. Force update, click OK. Yeah, and also I told that I want to change the Spring Boot version. I can do that as well. Let me go to pom.xml. Here I can change it to 3.2.11. I have been using 3.2.11 for so long. So I am just going in for the previous version. Let me also change Java version. It is 21 only. And in JRE system library I will go and change it. Build path, configure build path, edit. First let me select it. Alternate JRE, install JREs, add standard VM, directory where I am having Java, C drive, program files, Java, JDK. Finish. Select JDK, apply and close. Here select JDK in execution environment. Select JDK 21, finish, apply and close. Now see, automatically the error is gone. Okay. All set now. I am supposed to use at valid annotation to validate the employee object. As of now, I have not added anything. First, let us run the application, get the output, and then we will add this at valid annotation. Select your application, right click, run as Spring Boot app. Hello. The application has started. Let me go to Postman. Localhost :8080/employees. I need to add the body part. The method is post. In the body, raw, it should be of JSON format. Within curly braces, employee ID. I am not adding the employee name. :1, city, :AB, comma, email, comma, age, date of birth. Date of birth should have a past value. Let me give a latest one, comma, date of retiring. I will give a past date. Okay, how many properties I am having? Let me check. Password, I am supposed to give password. This purposefully I have not given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hobbies. Next is password, AB, then hobbies, sports. So I am supposed to provide 10 values. Let me check. Salary is missing, comma, salary. Salary should be a digit and it should have maximum only 3 integers and only 3 fractions. I have given 4. All set. Let me click send. Okay, I am getting the output as such because we are not validating the user input in this particular REST API. So what we need to do, let me go back to the application. Open employee controller. When the data is coming in the body part of the request, I need to validate it. So for that, let us add at valid annotation. relaunch the application. If you have added DevTools, automatically it will be relaunched. Fine. Go back to Postman, click send. Now it is giving a message as bad request, meaning to say that there are validation errors. Let me go and check in the application. See, all the 11 errors are shown over here. Now how to capture the errors and return it back to the client? There are two ways. Let me show you both the ways. In the first case, I am just going to tell the user that there are validation errors. In the other case, I will capture the errors and also I will provide the errors together with the message to the user. Okay, we will check it out. Let me go to the controller. In the controller class, let me add one more as binding result to capture the errors. Result, which will automatically capture the errors. Now here I am going to check if result dot has errors, then return response entity dot bad request dot body, within which I need to provide the employee object. In our case, we don't have the employee object at all because there are validation errors. If you notice, here the return type is response entity of employee. So let me change this to string. We will modify it again, do not worry. Now here I will send the messages validation errors occurred. If everything is perfect, employee registered. Okay, let me relaunch the application. Go back to Postman, click send. Validation errors occurred, and here you can see the status as 400 bad request. Okay, in this case we have got a generic error message, but we are supposed to inform the user about the errors that has occurred. What is the type of value that he has to provide for all the properties? So that can be achieved only if you handle the exception. The exception can be handled in two ways. That is, you need to create a class that is annotated with @controller advice and capture the exception by using a method that is annotated with @exception_handler. Because we are having only one single controller class, in the same controller class we can add one method and annotate it with @exception_handler. We need to pass the exception that occurs because of this validation. Let us find out what is the exception that occurs. So for that, let me go back to the code and I will modify it. I will comment this. I don't need binding result now. And let us have this as employee only. Modify this to employee object. Okay. Now again let me rerun the application. I want to see the error message. I want to see the exception. Open Postman, click send. Bad request. Open the console. This is the exception that has occurred. Method argument not valid exception. Let me copy this. Now let us add a method. Public response entity. Okay, what exactly we need? We will check it out. Handle exception. And above that, this method should be annotated with @exception_handler, within which pass the exception name. Method argument not valid exception dot class. And pass this as parameter also. Okay. To capture all the exceptions, let us create a map. The key is a string, the value is also a string. The key is nothing but the name of the property and the value is the default message or the message that you have given. Okay. Error map is equal to new hash map, import map. Now this is the exception object. From the exception object, get all the errors. The return type of this is a list of object error. List of object error. Errors is equal to. Let me click on this. So this object error will have the field error and the corresponding value. Let me have this as errors. Because it is a list, I am going to iterate through this list, take the field name and the corresponding message and add it to this map. Import list and object error. Now let us use for each. Errors dot for each. Take one by one error. First we need to get the key. String key, which is nothing but the field name, equal to error dot. Whatever is coming in is an object error. What I want is the field name. So I need to downcast this error to field error. Field error. Add a round bracket. Dot get field. This will return the field name. That is the property name. Next is string value. That is available directly in the object error. So I can call error dot get default message. Now both these should be added to the error map. Error map dot put. The key is the field name and the value is the default message. Okay. And finally we are supposed to return the error map. Return response entity dot OK by passing the error map. So this will go in the body part of the response. Now you will know what should be added inside the response entity. It should be a map of string. Okay, all set. Let us relaunch the application again. The application has started. Let me go back to Postman. Click send. Okay, now see how nicely we are getting the error messages. Employee name, which is the field name. Actually it is the property. Must not be null. Let me just open this employee class also. We have not provided any specific error message for not null. So this is coming from the default error message. Password must match. It is providing the pattern. City should have 3 or more characters, which we have provided. The message is provided by us. Date of retiring must be a future date. Must be greater than or equal to 10. Employee ID. For all these, wherever it is starting with must be, it means that it is coming from the default message provided by the validation API. Now slowly we will change one by one. In the body part, first I will add employee name also. Within quotes, employee name. But I am not going to provide any value, just blank. I will change employee ID to 10. City should have at least 3 characters. Goa. Email abc@gmail.com. Age must be greater than or equal to 20. Let me change the age to 20. Then date of birth. I will change this to a past date and this one to a future date. And password, let it be, we will modify it later on. You can see salary, numeric value out of bounds. It should be less than 3 digits. Dot, again 3 digits expected. So here, and in case of hobbies, size must be between 2 and 10. Music. Most of the things I have modified, but still let me run it. Click send. Name should not be blank. Okay. Salary, numeric value out of bounds. On the right hand side. We did not change it. Okay. So if you notice, everything is inclusive. 20 is inclusive. Then employee ID, that is min value, max value, size, they are all inclusive. Now let us change the password also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me click send. Now everything is perfect. The employee object, that is the user input, is completely validated after going to the controller. Because everything is fine, it is coming back with the original data again. So I hope it is clear. This is how we do validation of user input that enters into a Spring REST API. I hope it is clear. Together with this, now you need to know 2 more things. One is you can also create your own custom validator annotation. That is, if you want to provide any exclusive annotation for your application, you can create your own annotation for performing the validation. The second one is grouping the validators to perform validation. This is also an advanced way of performing validation of a REST API. That's it.